The following QR code links to this video. The information that I've just given you will make the rest of this make a lot more sense. So some of you may know, about a month ago I made a game. Well, game might be stretching the definition a bit, but I definitely made something in RPG Maker and popped it on itch.io. I popped a little trailer for it on my channel as a way to entice people to test it, but here's one thing I know about my channel, and that is that it has, to put it lightly, limited reach. Or at least that's what I thought until I made a video about Pingu and the video's views explode. Like, holy shit, thank you so much for the support on that vid. But I decided that there must be another way from which I can advertise this game I've put on itch.io. And this is where I get into one of my hobbies. So occasionally, I like to do some stand-up comedy. I like being funny, and I'm also a massive narcissist, so that kind of thing is right up my alley. Now, I've always got a few ideas for future sets, and often some of these just comes from random jokes I've thought up. One time I thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I started off saying how much I don't like subliminal advertising, but at the same time there was a giant logo coming up behind me? This is a joke that has potential that, when done correctly, could result in a very memorable joke. Memorable jokes like the one in Wayne's World where they do this exact fucking thing. But that didn't dissuade me, so it went in my notebook. Now, as I was working on Uninciting, oh, by the way, Uninciting is the name of the game, I should have probably mentioned that, I thought to myself, hey, what if I did that subliminal advertising set, but with my gear? So even before I finished it, I had fully made a set with two aims. Make the audience laugh, and show the following QR code as often as possible, as a means to get the audience to scan it. And well, I did one of those things. Okay, I'll level with you. It was shit. Now, there is a recording of that set, and since I can't get through all of it at once without cringing, I'm going to play it for you now, but I'm going to be pausing very often, just to analyse how bad it is with my, well, okay, expert isn't the right word, but certainly hindsight. So, buckle in. Here we go. Yes, I did steal Tenjin Kotane's song for my walk-on music. I'm prepared to slide for this one. Hi everybody. I know, I really am that handsome, aren't I? So already I've made a mistake. I come on stage wearing a very noticeable mask. The audience notices that. Now, this is slightly surprising, so the natural subversion is not to draw attention to the mask, creating this slightly strange atmosphere that this set is based on. But I decide that, oh, how about I just throw a light bone to the audience here, which ruins a joke I have later. Very immodest, very sloppy. But, so I just want to kind of talk about a few things, like, what's the deal with subliminal advertising nowadays, right? Like, ooh, I'm going to tell people all about my product by not telling people all about my product. Yeah, I really want to kind of meet the people who use subliminal advertising. You know, it's kind of weird strategy out there. You know, it's like, ooh, I could just tell people to do something, or I could treat my product like a fucking CIA psyop. But, yeah, subliminal advertising never really got to me. So this is the exact joke I told you about earlier, and the key to the delivery is charisma. You've got to come in and go on a continuous stream of talking, which distracts the audience long enough so that they don't notice until the giant QR code has fully come up behind me. Unfortunately, I decided to make direct eye contact with the bloody screen, and even pause the act a bit to make sure the QR code is coming up, which directly makes the audience anticipate something, and so when the QR code comes up, it just makes the punchline obvious. Bad going on my part. You know one thing that does get to me? Crosswords! Fucking love crosswords. Now, of course, I'm assuming some of you are familiar with crosswords and crossword type material, and there's now 5 types of crossword answers. They are, so, down and across, fairly standard. Now, they did start to ruffle my feathers a bit with diagonals, right? I was on the fence about those, I'll be completely honest. But, no, I was pushed off the fence and into incoherent rage when we got to up answers, right? The other day I was doing a paper, and the clue was 7 letters, fast vehicle used for motorsport. Up. The answer was race car. It would have been the same down as well as up. But, yeah, then there's whole thing answers. Whole fucking, what is this, charades? Yeah, the other day, I was doing another crossword, and it said, okay, the whole of this crossword will give you an opportunity to playtest something that needs a lot of feedback. Whole thing's going to tell me that, really. If that's the case,
4 letters followed by 3 letters, across. Thing I'd like to tell the person who made this. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what that was. Thing in need of feedback. Whole thing. I don't know. Here's what the crossword looked like. I don't know. Take a picture of it if you want to do it at home, obviously. But
that section was okay, though it does suffer a bit from an exposition problem. For those who don't know, in stand-up, exposition is when there's a significant lack of laughs just so the comedian can set up their joke. I tried to mitigate this here with my light implications that crosswords are a burning issue in my heart, but I fear this may have been too little too late. But don't worry, this isn't even close to the most unfunny thing I do on this stage.
yes, the club. The club. As you can tell, I'm a real hit for ladies.
This is the joke that was ruined because of what I did earlier. In how I scripted this would be the first time I reference anything to do with my appearance, which would be subverting the lack of attention I gave it earlier, but because I directly mentioned it earlier, it doesn't work. And this is why I really shouldn't improvise.
But, yes, I was at the club, and I just want to set the scene a bit, you know. A bit of a classic tune playing.
Please scan the QR code you see behind you. Seriously, do it right now. This is not something you can back away from. I know where you live.
Oh man, I just love me some editor. But yeah, that's how I got chlamydia. What's the deal with sudden cut-offs at the end of punchlines, am I right?
Now this one, the first narration was meant to play louder. I would blame the tech team for that one, but I was the one who calibrated the volume on that narration, so that one is definitely on me. But of course, we've got the end of it. Now, in my head, I'd set up a joke that's, ooh, the funniest thing ever happened to me in a club. Then there's a heavy bit of subliminal advertising, then I return to the joke as if I've properly given the build-up, and so the punchline feels odd and out of place, in a humorous way. The effect I wanted was something along the lines of when a comedian goes, ironically, what's the deal with airline food, am I right? Basically, I wanted to tie a joke that the audience would recognize as such, and basically try to show that I'm doing a bad job of covering up the subliminal advertising. But you may notice that the phrase, so that's how I got chlamydia, isn't quite the same as what's the deal with airline food. Of course, I then do the joke about sudden cut-offs, which of course references another comedy trope of suddenly cutting off your joke once you've put ahead a strand that the audience want explained. But of course, this didn't quite fix anything. If anything, it made it worse.
Pretty sorry about that. I kind of forgot what I was meant to do. Just give me a second. Let me pull out my notes.
Oh my god.
Sorry, my notes says...
YouTuber.
I'm sorry? Sorry? Do we have a heckler in the audience? They're fucking louder.
YouTuber.
You always get one at one of my gigs. Yes, yeah, I should admit, I am a YouTuber. Otaku without ideas on YouTube. I didn't mention it. I'm not the type to recklessly self-promote. But,
This one could have been really funny, with me feigning not knowing what to do and using that as an excuse to show the QR code more, but this was actually me really not knowing what to do, because I put the note in the wrong pocket, so it just led to more awkward silence. Yay. And after yet more exposition, the camera ran out of storage. Indeed, even the technology didn't want to be involved with this show. However, the script of this set is available, and what I did on stage was basically just devolve into me spelling out what the QR code is while it appears behind me, in a paragraph so long and unfunny I'd expect it to be used in a Reddit Lisa Simpson meme. So overall, not the best set, but some fruit was born of that evening. Most notably, that a mate of mine gave me this fantastic drawing. They genuinely drew this in 10 minutes, and this marks the second time in my life someone's given me a drawing of myself without it being commissioned. It's also the second time someone's given me a drawing of myself in my life, but both times have been wonderful. As for my main objective, did I get anyone to play my game? Kinda. Basically, you know that QR code? You see, I didn't leave it up on screen long enough for people to actually scan it, so people just assumed it was for my YouTube channel. So they just searched me up, and I actually got 3 subs for that evening, which is very nice indeed. But so far, I've only got one piece of feedback on the game, which is that people don't know where to go, so indeed, I'm going to work on a patch for that. Although I really won't give a deadline, I'm going to be fucking honest, I am slipping in the game development front. But to put a moral to this story, if you're going to create a stand-up comedy routine, focus on making it funny above all else. a plug won't go amiss. But rarely does a full-on subliminal advertising campaign work. People can often tell if your main aim is just to push an agenda. And that's the last you'll see of me dabbling in subliminal advertising. It'll only be fully liminal advertising from now on. Scan the QR code, play the game, play it for free. Tell me what you think of it. Scan the QR code, do it now.